Hi, welcome to Barcart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about Yellow Jessamine by Caitlin Starling. First, I'd like to give a thanks to Neon Hemlock, the publishers of the book, for sending me my copy in anticipation of today's video. Starting this week, Neon Hemlock will be hosting a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo in support of their new slate of novellas for 2022. Number of titles that I'm really excited about, both for my own reading and for us here at Barcart Bookshelf. And we'll have a link to that campaign in the video description down below. What a joy as well to revisit the work of Caitlin Starling, whose novel, The Death of Jane Lawrence, I really enjoyed last October as part of our spooky season celebration. It was just tremendously mathemagical and gothic and utterly enchanting, and Yellow Jessamine is much the same way. Not quite so much magic as The Death of Jane Lawrence, but deliciously botanical, and in the vein of the old short story Rappaccini's Daughter, just wonderfully plant matter focused in this city that's racked by plague and hemmed in by war, and really diving deep into this isolation that really drives Gothic as a genre. The main character, Evelyn Perdenu, is a shipping magnate in this port city and is sort of struggling to maintain her control over the city as a new and previously, unknown, utterly unknown disease sweeps through the city, already on the verge of collapse. So all of those wonderfully crumbling aspects of the Gothic kicked up to 11 because it's a slim little novella, the sort of thing that you can read in about an afternoon and get just the supercharged dose of the Gothic. And so, of course, with such a botanical focus and such a wonderfully Gothic atmosphere, we had to make a drink for the book. And without any further ado, why don't we get started on making this week's drink? We've got a couple of familiar ingredients here and a couple of fresh faces. Our drink is the Verity. It is going to be a bubbly and effervescent spring highball for Yellow Jessamine with a lot of wonderfully golden herbal ingredients. So we're going to start with our base spirit. Got brandy. Unlike the Armagnac that we used for Death of Jane Lawrence, we're using an American brandy today, Copper and Kings, made in Louisville, Kentucky. And we're going to get 1.5 ounces of our brandy in there. You certainly can use the Armagnac if you still have your bottle from Death of Jane Lawrence. That drink, A Dream of Blood, really does rely on the assertiveness of that Armagnac, and you can trade those out and see the different sorts of drinks that you get when you have your different types of brandy traded in from one another. We've got 1.5 ounces of our brandy in there, and now we'll add our modifiers. So as I said, it's a very botanical book. Evelyn, the main character, has a garden, a medicinal garden, a poison garden, and so we needed something really herbal to bring to our equation. And for that, we've got yellow chartreuse. There are two varieties of chartreuse. It's an herbal liqueur, been made for about 500 years, and the legend goes that there are only 3 monks who know the complete recipe at any given time. There are two varieties, as I said, the yellow that we're using today and the green chartreuse. They have very different flavor profiles, so they really aren't interchangeable. For the Verity, we really do need our good friend, the yellow chartreuse, and it's an ingredient that we'll be using a lot more as we go through the rest of the year, because I'm very fond of it. So we've got 1/2 ounce of the yellow chartreuse in with our brandy, And then just to soften things a little bit and add a touch more sweetness, we're going to get a 1/4 ounce of honey syrup. You know, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Something like that. Wonderful. And so now we've got our sweeteners in there, our base spirit, and to brighten things up, we've got half a lemon here. We want 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. Now you can trade out the lemon cordial that we use in A Dream of Blood. It'll be a heavier and darker highball than with the fresh juice, but I tried them both and I am fond of the drink either way. We've got our 3/4 of an ounce there. I do prefer the fresh though for the lightness and brightness, especially as we head into these warmer months. So we've got all of our primary ingredients here in our shaker. We'll get our ice in there. Wonderful. And shake it up, wake it up. Wonderful. A good stout tap. Excellent. And then we've got our highball glass here to the side. I'm going to get a couple of ice cubes in there as well. Wonderful. Take our Hawthorne strainer and strain our cocktail into glass. Excellent. As we might expect, there's some space left over, and we don't have anything effervescent in there yet. So we're going to bring that with some ginger beer. Nice, really gingery, fiery ginger. Another herbal note with a bit of fizz as well. We'll let that settle. And then finally, to garnish our cocktail, as you see on the cover, Evelyn Perdineau is wearing a veil. She wears a veil through the entirety of the novel as part of a mourning process. And we want to give our drink a veil. We're going to do that with Angostura bitters. And you'll just get a little crown of bitters to the top of your highball, and it'll seep in through to cover the rest of the drink like a veil. And so there you have it, the Verity, a spring highball in honor of Yellow Jessamine by Caitlin Starling. Got a link for the book down below, as well as the publisher's crowdfunding campaign. Tools and ingredients, as always, from the Boston Shaker, linked below. Also links to Twitter and Instagram, where there are written versions of this week's recipe. And as always, please remember to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about Barcart Bookshelf. We have a great time here, as I know you all know. And until next time, cheers.